Alright, maybe we'll do a video for that Brandon kid. I forget his last name. I think he's in Orlando. Come on down to shitty Southwest Florida and we'll fix it in here. Yeah, right. That's like four hours away. I think I gotta go to I-4 to 75 and take 75 all the way down here. I've done that many times. So, Caprice, get a little better view on this vehicle than the Impala over here with the LT1 305 action. But yeah, he's complaining about a noise in his front suspension. I just know that no one freaking checks these things and no one bothers with it. But what happens with these things is the upper control arm bushings, they will dry rot like crazy. These ones were replaced. They're tricky to replace. You get this big cross shaft you gotta take out. And this thing sucks. Let me see if I put another light on. Might be. Oh, there we go. That's what we needed right there. But yeah, it has that cross shaft. And this freaking flashlight's terrible. That goes across to the shims. Sometimes too, these shims will fall out after some moron aligns it. These are the nuts that put tension on those shims. So you can chuck a shim and then you have all this play side to side, or maybe even just a little one falls out, and you'll start getting a clunking noise because the upper control arm is moving around, clunk, 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 clunk. So what I might do is look see if there's any space in between those shims. This is one thing you can check. I'll go do like the 50 other things. Check space between those shims to see if one of them chucked. Again, there's ones in the front. There's ones in the back. You take, that's how you adjust your camber and your caster. You know, caster, you're just going to change one on each side to bring the wheel, you know, and then camber, obviously, if you want to kick it out, you're going to add them, and if you want to, you know, move it that way, you're going to reduce it. They're kind of tricky. I never really played with these, and I was at the shop. I should have bought a pack of them, because really people today that work on cars, they have no freaking idea about the setup. They only know about those little the cams on the little eccentrics that are on the new cars. So yeah, check the shims. Also check to see if this nut is tight. There's, you know, one there, one there. These nuts, they should really be replaced. I never did it, so they do loosen. So every like couple of years I just put a wrench on there and make sure they're tight. What you can do too is just put another nut on them and act like a jam nut. Okay, because they're self-locking, and then this little bolt over here is actually a tapered bolt, which I should have replacements, but I don't. I should buy some because they're probably going to be non-available soon. But they have a taper on them like a wheel stud, and those can actually break too. And then this whole little stud over here is loose and it just wanders around. And this is all stuff that no one picks up on. And then these loosen over here, the little preload caps. If someone screwed with the whole control arm, which the person who installed these, they didn't tighten them up. It was sent out for this job because I was busy. I was going to do it myself. I did my truck myself. Yeah, so those were all loose, and then it has a crazy creaking sound. But that's just the upper control arm. Then what else? What else I can credit on this thing? Cramp condo garage. Maybe I'll look at this one better. I don't know. You know, tie rod, adjuster sleeve, blah blah blah. Center links, you know, they can get play. You get play in that joint on that side where the idler arm is. Idler arm wears out a lot, but that's usually up and down placement. Grab. And that's like always loose over there, the freaking pitman arm. Or the pitman arm and the center link. That joint over there. Those are easy to check though. You turn the wheel while the engine's running and you have someone watch this. On the pitman arm, you watch that. The pitman arm should move at the same time that you see the center link moving. If the pitman arm moves like this a little bit before the center link moves, you know that joint is worn. That's how I check them. And replace them. They wear out like crazy. I put a new one on this car. I put a new pitman arm because the center link was not wearable on that. And yeah, wore out in about 1,000 miles. Cheap part. What else? He's saying that maybe I can look through the wheel on this one. Yeah, I can. But as you see, like this one, same deal. You know, the grease is just gonna ooze from those upper ball joints. I wouldn't worry about it. Just the heat down here just cooks the crap out of it. And can I say it over there? No, you can't. But stock, the upper control arm, the upper ball joint rather, on the control arm is riveted in. So if they change them, they're always going to be bolted on. But the age of the car, you know, if the thing has over 100,000 miles, it's probably they've been changed before. This one still has original. It has like no miles, well, like 50,000 miles. What else? Oh yeah, steering stops. You should go grease those things, even though it doesn't really make a difference. When no one does it. Steering stops. Oh, they're on the back side, right? I believe so. They're on the back side. Yeah, you can be able to see it. Got something leaking over here. I sprayed oil. I don't know. Or the shock's leaking. I don't know. But you see, like, even the tie rod on this thing, it's all oozing. This is the heat here. I never had this problem up north where it was cold. Never had it. Can we get a view on the back? I don't know. We're not going to be able to get a view. There's a steering stop, though, in the back. You see it right there. Maybe there's 2 rivets holding on. I usually put grease on that. Sometimes when you're at full lock, it just beats the hell out of it. So a little bit of grease prevents it from wearing. What else? Clunk noise. Yeah, I would probably check like upper control arm. A lot of times too, when you get a crazy noise, you just open the hood, make sure though that your struts are strong, because if they're weak, the hood will come down on you. Ask me how I know. Then you just push down the radiator support really hard, and you can, a lot of times you could duplicate a front end noise. You're not going to get it jumping on the bumper, but right on the radiator support, it's going to go. The Bilsteins are so stiff on these cars. I can't do it. Need a lot of weight. But stiff shocks. Can't move it. What else? That's a given too. These things always clunk, but that's just in the steering. The damn steering shaft, you grab on that and it's all over the place. I'm not touching it. I grease mine. I put oil everywhere because I'm tired of rusting. What else? Yeah, so upper control arm, check those shims to see if they fell out. These things, you're going to be looking at this mess because you get the LT1 in yours. Like this thing, it's hard to see with all this crap, but you just kind of peel it away and you can get a better view at it. So check the shims. I had one fall out. I might even have one in here. No. It's a brake clip, but the shims almost look like that. Varying in sizes. They can be really, really thick too. I have them somewhere. I don't know. You check on the frame rail though. Usually you'll probably find one. I don't even know where they are. I'm not going through all this crap. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about stuff oozing though like that, like the boots. Ooh, the boots are oozing. Nah. Yeah, to check it's really easy too. If you want to see if you actually have a loose ball joint, I would just jack it up by the frame, and then what you could do too is you can put a jack stand underneath it, and then this jack up in the control arm. I would probably jack up on the control arm about right under where the shock is because it's stronger, and then lift it up, put some pressure on it, and then just grab the wheel and from like the bottom and the top, keep tugging on it and see if you'll feel any bit of movement. Then you just jack it up a little bit and put a long pry bar underneath it, and just pull up on it, and you'll feel a little bit of play. It's hard to tell because sometimes people think if they first did it they'll have play, but they really don't. That's just the tire giving. Really, when you do that, it's hard to do with one person, or have someone pull up on it, and then watch the joint between the ball joint and the steering knuckle on the upper and the lower, and you'll see it moving a little bit. It all depends how much play there is or how worn out it is. Yeah, new parts not always better. I used spicer ball joints, which were good at the time on this, and then I believe on this side it has a Moog on the lower. It has a Moog oversized ball joint because the spindle was apparently a little wallowed out. Should really go to the junkyard and get all better used spindles. I should have bought new ones when I could. They were like 60 bucks a piece, but those days are gone. Yeah, if that car is a 91 too, I think only 96 had it though, maybe. They use a larger, lower ball joint than a typical Caprice. I think it was only 96, like late 95, late 96 they changed that. Or they could have, in like a police garage, they could have did like a TSB and changed the knuckle because the tapered spline was larger, and they put a larger ball joint. So I don't know. I would probably check that first, because that's just common, and especially if the car was aligned, and if they jacked with the shims, they're probably loose. I don't know what size that is. It's standard, not standard. I mean, not standard. What am I doing? I don't even know my own toolbox. I don't do stuff anymore. Like 4 tries. Wasn't like a 19. Hit the fender. I think it was a 19. Yeah, 19. It might be a 3/4. And yeah, just check if they're tight. They're not reverse thread or nothing. And they're tight. I'd like to put a bar over them too, because they can just go back. And this one, same thing. See, that one had a little bit of play in it. See, it's turning. They always turn, they get loose. So, yeah, check all that crap. And maybe you'll find your clunk. I don't know. Good luck finding people who know what they're doing. That's why I don't deal with anyone. And I want my own tire machine, but I don't have room for it. I want a tire machine and balancer, so I don't even have to deal with people for tires. One day. Yeah, check all that crap. I would show you a better video if I get one of these things up in the air, but I obviously can't. Let's see one more time, can we? Yeah, that's another thing you could do if you want it. If that creaking sound, you get like a bunch of boards like this. Or if you don't have any, go to Home Depot. Just get a freaking plank, and they'll rip them for you in like a couple of different sizes, I believe, for free. You know, whatever, how many sections you want. I got a chop saw though, but these are kind of tricky to cut with a chop saw. Or you just get it in the Sawzall if you want to DIY with minimum tools like I have now. Oh, I just hit myself in the head with that. That hurt. Rust. It's still rusting over there again. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see shit underneath there. But yeah, jack it up from that point right there underneath the shock. If you're gonna check for movement. And yeah, you know, tie rods. You can give those a good shake too. Those tie rods, you can grab them. If you can twist them real easy side to side, a lot of times that means they're worn like this way. But it's, you should really just move the wheel in and out. If there's play, you'll see it. These bushings go in a sway bar. And yeah, if those things are worn, you're going to get a creak because the sway bar is going to shift. If you ever put those end links on too, like you said in the comment, I kind of did a crappy job on that. They look like they're too long, the studs, and they're too squished for my liking. Because I made that amateur mistake. I put those things on too tight, and then they're just worn out in no time. So now I don't do that. Young and stupid. What else? If you're gonna do your brakes, make sure that those little ears on the top of the pad are cinched down so the outer pad doesn't wiggle. And then I might have a video on that. I don't know. You get little bushings. You get a bushing right where that pin sticks out, and then you got one on the other side with a little like spacer kind of washer thing. And yeah, they always wear out. That's just a little bushing kit. You get those for cheap. They're all made in China now. It sucks. They used to be made in USA. And always make sure your wear indicator is facing down. A lot of people put them backwards, even though it doesn't matter. But that's how it came from the factory. So that's what I do. I don't know. That's probably it. That, or you can always, if the suspension is fine, you could always start looking at body bushings and stuff. Those things get kind of crappy. These things are mashed bad. They all get mashed. Can you even see one? I don't know. Now you can see the first one kind of all the way in the frame rail. All the way down there in the corner, you'll see it. Pretty bad. People keep talking about making new ones for these cars, but no one's making them. You can get polyurethane ones, but they make a lot of noise. I'll probably have to go that route. And then you have to reuse the metal inserts, which are always rusty. So you gotta clean the rusty ones up, and if they're not salvageable, get used ones. But yeah, that's probably all I have to add about that after this long video. I was gonna make a video about my Craigslist people, but they didn't want to show up today. Get it right. Bolted in. See, it's been replaced. That's how you know. I have those things to loosen up too. The freaking people, they don't put those 4 bolts tight, and then that ball joint with that flanges will move around in the control arm. It can. So that's another thing you could check. I should really check it on this car, and I should check it on my truck. I know the truck, I put it on myself and put those on like very tight. So another thing to look for, check those 4 bolts. They're kind of hard to get to when the vehicle's assembled, you know, if the joint's assembled, because I put them on there when I took the whole control arm off, and it's usually how I would install them, because the bushings get crappy. Also the lower control arm bushings, you want to check those out too, which usually last longer, but they start looking like these ones over here. That's rear control arms, so yeah, they're kind of cracked. Junk. Well, that stuff gets old, and the hot heat does not make it last longer.